Hey there, welcome to Secondhand Overland. Today we're talking about a trail we've done a couple of times in the past few weeks that not only have we really enjoyed, but we think you might too, so we put together a little video to introduce you to it. This is the Montana Mountain Trail. It's just about a 30-mile, almost loop that takes you through the Superstition Mountains from Hewitt Station Road up the US 60 just east of Queen Valley, Arizona, and winds up and over Montana Mountain, then returns you to the US 60 just west of Superior, Arizona. As an off-road trail, Montana Mountain isn't super challenging. Most stock four-wheel drives will have no problem on it, although having a low range will really be beneficial for the long climbing portions and or descents. This trail is accessible year-round, but I'd recommend doing it in the fall, winter, or spring. You see, in recent summers, the Superstitions have tended to act like they just scored 3 baskets in a row on NBA Jam, and on fire! Also, high temps in the area tend to exceed the 100 degrees Fahrenheit mark for all of the summer. The trip should take somewhere between 3 to 5 hours, depending on how much sightseeing you do. Regardless, make sure you've got plenty of water just in case something goes sideways. While there are some forested spots in the higher elevations, you will find little in the way of shade for most of the drive. If you're interested, I put links in the description below to the track we took, as well as some of the points along the way that I'll mention. Now, while you can do this trail in either direction, most prefer doing it in a clockwise manner, starting at Hewitt Station Road, as this means you'll be descending the switchbacks on the east side of Montana Mountain rather than climbing them. There are multiple staging areas to stop and air down along Hewitt Station Road, and after you're done doing that, you'll turn off onto FR 172, also known as JF Ranch, about 2.5 miles after the first staging area. This road aims you straight at the mountains, and you'll get an amazing view of them. Soon enough, you'll find yourself rolling through a very scenic canyon. When you emerge from this canyon, keep your eyes peeled to the west. You're looking for this arch. While I've heard it described as both Elephant Arch and Hewitt Canyon Natural Arch, it's amazing no matter what you call it. It's also accessible if you're up for a bit of a hike. There are some spots to pull over on the road, and you'll find a not very well marked set of trails leading up to it. It took us about 10 minutes or so each way to hike up to the arch, and like I said, the trail wasn't the best marked, but it was totally worth the effort. A little further up the road, we came across a stack of white painted rocks that are a living reminder of the area's Wild West heritage. They serve as a boundary marker or stake for a current placer mining claim. Interestingly enough, in the modern era of cell phones and social media, it's still possible to literally go out and stake a mining claim on certain federal lands, much like people did 150 years ago. Moving on from the claim, the climbing begins, and you start to get some really impressive views of the Superstition Mountains. Once you reach the top, you'll pass a turnoff for the Rivas Ranch / Rogers Trough Trailhead. This is a popular backpacking trail, taking people into a historic part of the Superstition Wilderness that was the home of the fabled hermit of the Superstition Mountains, Elisha Rivas, until his death in 1896. If you're interested in learning more about hiking to Rivas Ranch, check out the Jerry, Arizona video in the description below. Just after the trailhead turnoff, we pass through a somewhat wooded section with numerous established dispersed camping sites, if you're interested in making this an overnight trip. Not long after the campsites, we found ourselves riding close to the ridgelines and found a couple of very impressive scenic pullouts, one of which was stopped at and used for an impromptu cookout. There's really nothing quite like dinner with a view. From there, the road follows close to the ridgeline, and it works its way in and out of mountain pines before coming to the most challenging part of the trip, the switchbacks. In just over 2 miles, these 15 or so switchback turns will bring you down almost 1,300 feet from the top of the mountain to one of the canyons below. While it is steep and twisty, and I wouldn't recommend doing it during rainy or snowy conditions, it's not impossible and can even be done in a full-size vehicle like our new friend Dylan's half-ton GMT 800 GMC Sierra. When you finally get to the bottom of the switchbacks, you'll come to a T. If you go right, you'll just continue on your way, but if you're up for a quick run up the rocky trail to your left, you'll end up here, near the ruins of a stone cabin that dates back to the late 1800s. While I couldn't find a definitive account of its history, one source did refer to it as the Woodcamp Miners Canyon and hinted that it may have played a part in supporting timber cutting operations in the nearby mountains. You see, at the particular point in time the cabin was constructed, timber was in high demand as a fuel source to run mining and milling operations, so it only made sense for the miners to try and utilize as much as could be found nearby. There's also a well, windmill, and water tank nearby, which appear to be there to provide for livestock and wildlife in the area. From here, it's about 8 miles to get back to the US 60 via Happy Camp Road 650 and Forest Road 8. Most of the great mountain views will be behind you on this stretch, so it's not going to be the most scenic of roads, but it does serve the purpose of getting you back to the highway. Just before you get to the highway, you'll see a large staging area off to your left where you'll be able to stop and air back up. Now, there is a set of trails that will take you back across to Hewitt Station before you get to the highway, taking you by the historic Bomboy Mine, but we ran short of time on both trips out there and have yet to take it. I guess someday we'll do it and maybe update this video or something. Well, that about wraps it up for us. As you can see, Montana Mountain Loop makes for one heck of a scenic day drive, but it can also be extended out to overnight trips and serve as a jumping off point for more backcountry exploration. And it's only a skip and a hop outside of town. As always, I'm Matt Kester. You can find me on Instagram at Frugal Explorer Dad. Check out our channels page at Instagram at Secondhand Overland. Until next time, be good.